Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is, Raiders versus the world. Talking about the team that the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. All right, so we've been waiting for this, right? Everyone was talking. I heard it from a lot of you guys. I was thinking it myself. Not only when was the extension going to get done with Geno Smith, but when was the introductory press conference? And it makes sense. You know, you're not going to want to do a press conference for a guy that you just traded for to be your new quarterback and then do another press conference when he gets extended. Totally understandable. And it kind of put me at ease, too, that they were so close on an extension that they just held off on the introductory press conference until after the extension was done. It would be kind of strange if, like, they were doing press conferences, like, let's say, like, after the draft or something like that for an introductory and with a guy that you traded for in, like, March or something like that. But yeah, man, we're going to get to all that. But before we do, I want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's a great way to support the channel. It's absolutely free. And it's the bare minimum you can do to support this channel besides watching this live or this video whenever you're watching it. And I do appreciate that. I want to give you guys a big thank you. In the last 28 days, we have gained 670 subscribers. Thanks a lot, Raider Nation. It's much appreciated. We're up over 1,800, barreling our way down to 2,000. So thank you very much, guys. We've only been doing this for not even 3 months yet, and we're already over almost 2,000. So that's great, guys. I really appreciate you. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to take a look at the introductory press conference. If you haven't heard it yet, I'm going to play it, and I'm going to stop after some questions to just do some commentary and get some commentary from you guys, and we'll go from there, okay? I was thinking about making a whole video like I normally do about the press conference, but ultimately it's like, you know what, let me get on live and talk to these guys, and the video will still be out there for live. It's going to be a shorter video today, but hopefully you guys hop on and want to talk a little bit something about Geno Smith and the press conference with the Raiders. So without further ado, let's go ahead and play the Geno Smith introductory press conference. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone. Obviously today, you know, it's a really exciting day for me and my family, but also it's an exciting day for the Raiders organization. Got two really good guys to my right and my left who helped me become a part of this, and you know, we're really excited to get here and get to work. Really excited to get to know all my teammates, get to know all the fans, you know, really immerse myself into, you know, Las Vegas and be a part of this thing. I've always, you know, revered the Raiders from afar, you know, the silver and black, all the nostalgia when you think about just, you know, the NFL. The Raiders is a big part of that, and we're here to win. We're here to do this thing the right way. I want to lead the right way. I want to be a big part of, you know, the culture here and just doing the right things and really just leave my mark on my teammates, on the team, and the organization.
You know, Vinny Bonsignore with the Review Journal. Welcome to Las Vegas. Life can move pretty fast in the NFL, and when you're a Seattle Seahawk, and the next thing you know, the Raiders are interested in trading for you. Pete Carroll being your former coach, how quickly did all the boxes get checked off for you? And that's where I wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, initially, you know, when I thought this was a possibility, you know, just Coach Carroll alone, you know, drew interest here, and you know, getting to know all the inner workings, getting to meet John, getting to talk to Tom Brady, and just, you know, really just understand what this thing is about and the direction they're going. I saw myself aligning with that, and you know, I think today is the start of that.
Hey, Geno, it's Tashawn Reed from The Athletics. But you haven't played.
All right, before we go any further, bro, the Raider drip is getting next level, okay? Look at this kind of scrunch neck hoodie that Spy Tech is wearing. That looks dope. You got the kind of a satin trucker hat type thing he's wearing. That looks dope. You got just the freaking logo without the shield hat. I need that hat that Geno Smith is wearing. That hat is legit. Just the Raider drip is just next level. We have the best logo ever in all of sports. And I'm telling you right now, man, I don't know. I gotta stop. I gotta stop right there to talk about the drip. So I really do love the Raider gear. I need to get me some more Raider gear. All right, here we go.
You've heard Chip Kelly before, but he recruited you coming out of college, and he also coached your cousin last year. How well do you know his system, and what are your thoughts about his system?
Oh,
Yeah,
Chip Kelly.
I've known his system from afar. He recruited me in college, when he was at Oregon, and I really, gave it some thought. I thought about going there. Really liked Chip then. Just kind of followed him throughout. Saw, when he went to the Eagles, actually had an interview with them when I was coming out for the draft, so I got to meet him again there. And then, last year he was coaching Jeremiah, so, I just watched their team. I watched the way that he handled, the injuries that they had. I watched the way that he managed having two really good running backs, and those guys, equally had 1,000 yards. They had a bunch of really good receivers who they spread the ball out to. There's a lot of things to like about this system. Obviously, I've got to dive into it and really just learn the ins and outs of it and how he wants things to be run. But just watching it like a fan from afar, I was really impressed.
That's a big thing, man. Because that's a question that we really have to ask is, Geno Smith is shown to be a good quarterback the last, he's got over 12,000 yards the last 3 years. And, it's a question that needed to be asked. And it was a good one by Tashawn Reed. I really like his stuff. Like, what's going to be the comfort level between Geno Smith and Chip Kelly? Chip Kelly's the man running the offense right now, man. And Chip Kelly's the guy that his word goes when it comes to the offense. If you're the highest paid coordinator in the entire NFL, your voice carries some weight. And I really do think that Chip Kelly is going to bring a new element out of Geno Smith. They did some RPO stuff with Geno while Pete Carroll was there, kind of a remnants of the old. I guess Russell Wilson kind of stopped doing that because he was getting maybe a little bit beat up. But Geno Smith is a much bigger, sturdier guy, and he's still got fresh legs. So I'm really interested to see how this offense is going to shake out. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a much better offense than we've seen in a while, just because not only the pieces that are leading the offense, like Geno Smith, quarterback, but also the guy scheming up the game plans with Chip Kelly, and hopefully we get a little bit of help running back in the offensive line. But let's continue on with this.
Levi, who's with the Las Vegas Raiders, just based on how things ended in Seattle, how much of a desire was there to kind of continue this relationship? And do you believe that there was some unfinished business that you're really looking forward to kind of continuing with Pete Carroll with this decision?
Yes, sir. That's a great way to put it. I think there is unfinished business, and I think, when people think about my story, Coach Carroll was a big part of that. He gave me an opportunity when not many people would have, and he saw, the hard work that I was putting in. He saw the things behind the scenes that I do that allowed me to get this opportunity. But to be able to play for him, and again to be a part of this organization, it means everything to myself and my family. I was just telling him, man, I'll run through a wall for him, and he knows that. And I'll do the same for my teammates and for this organization. And so I just want that to be, kind of who I am, and I want that to be the statement of who I am as the quarterback of this team.
Yo, man, there's a lot to like here. Okay, it's not just Geno Smith. Okay, the word has traveled around the league. If you want to get better, if you want to get paid, because I'll tell you something right now, Pete Carroll's gotten a lot of dudes paid, not just now, but also previously with guys in free agency going out there, and it carries a lot of weight with the NFL and with players when a guy like Pete Carroll in this situation has to make it work. He was kind of a little bit of a bummer move getting canned the way he did in Seattle, kind of like out of the blue type of thing. He fought for his job and everything. He has his second chance with or his last chance, I would say, with the Raiders, and he hand selected Geno Smith to come in and be the quarterback. So he got Geno Smith paid again when Geno Smith wasn't going to get paid like this with Seattle, and it wasn't only that Geno Smith wanted to play for more money, but he wanted to play for Pete Carroll. And that does carry weight in the NFL with players when people are kind of talking around the league. It's like, yo, man, if you play for Pete Carroll, he's going to put you in good situations, and you're going to end up getting paid either with the team he's on or somewhere else in the NFL. But you're going to make some money playing for Pete Carroll. So this is it's not it goes a little understated, but it does carry a lot of weight through the players in the NFL, and it could help us out maybe a little bit further on, maybe an older guy that got cut, or a guy out there that can really help us out in free agency in the second wave. Some of those veteran guys, it's going to carry a lot of weight if because Pete Carroll's name is out there as someone who can really help a guy, be his best and make some more money. Let's keep going here.
I might want to say that I might hit that wall before you get there. Okay?
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen
When
it.
Pete took his year off, could you have envisioned a year later that you guys would be reunited? Not in Seattle, obviously, someplace else. Was that thought even?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't know this was a possibility. I mean, the way that life works, you just kind of take it step by step and day by day. But it's kind of how God works, man. Fate, I would think, is a big part of this, and I think it's the reason why we're here today.
What about Coach Carroll makes you want to play for him and makes you think that other players will want to play for him?
Here we go.
Yeah, he's very relatable. He loves all of his players, just like they're his kids, and he treats us all the same. He treats us like men. He allows us to make decisions and allows us to be ourselves. But when it comes to inspiring people, inspiring guys to go out there and play hard, I mean, this guy's got it in spades. He's legendary. His track record speaks for itself, but he competes every single day, and that's what I love about him.
You can't say it any better than that. He's relatable to players, but he treats them like men. He sees them as his children, but he treats them like men. I've had the pleasure of teaching young players, not only in organized sports, but also in martial arts. I help run a Muay Thai gym, and if you give young people responsibility and you hold them accountable and you treat them the same as you treat the adults, they're going to respect you for it because they see that you don't think of them as a kid. And Pete Carroll treating these guys with respect, treating them like men, this goes a long way, especially when he's also a really good head coach. Now, AP did that as well. He treated the guys like men. He inspired them. He led them, but he just didn't have it yet. I'm not saying he's never going to have it, but he's not to the level of where Pete Carroll is as far as a head coach goes, and also in selecting a staff. So, again, it's not an understated thing. I mean, it should not go understated.
Pete, besides the winning, obviously, what do you hope, he's talked about it, what do you hope Geno brings to your locker room?
Oh, he's going to bring us great stability and belief in the kinds of things that we stand for. His habits are so stellar. The way he works, the way he looks at the game, the way he looks at the challenges of it all is exactly in line with the way we think. And so he'll represent us in magnificent fashion. I think it gives us instant stability at a crucial spot. The history that we have and my understanding of G and how to help him be the best he can be, and he knows how to bring out the best in our system because he'll stand for the competitiveness and the things that we believe in.
There it is.
It's just a great fit, and I'm so thrilled. This has been coming, but today feels like the real deal. We're finally here together, sitting next to each other, and talking about getting out on the field and throwing the football around, and that's what we're all about, and so we couldn't be more connected in that regard. I'd like to say too that Geno went through a lot to get here, and there was a lot of years in there when he had to take the second seat, and play in the quarterback position. But what I realized in him early on, not before we got him, but once we got to know him, that he was able to take every single day with a clear thought that I may play the very next play, and I'm not going to miss that opportunity. And he did it for a number of years. I mean, this is not like weeks. I'm talking for years playing behind Russell, and he just never let up on that thought. And it was so impressive to me. As soon as we had the opportunity to put him in position to take the lead, I couldn't wait. And he's been a winner ever since, and he's comeback player of the year for really the real deal reasons, and here we are now poised to go do something really, really unique. So it's fantastic that this has come together.
Is there a more Raider thing? Honestly, a guy who was just put out to pasture in the scrap heap in Geno Smith. His football career started, his NFL career started with a letdown. He was the last guy from the green room to be selected, and he was in the second round. He wasn't selected in the first round. There's a big ordeal about him being a first round pick, and is he a first round pick? Well, he was a second round pick. He goes to the Jets, doesn't do well, goes to, I believe, the Giants. The things don't go well for him there either. And he just signs up as a backup with Seattle. Like, I'm just going to back up. I'm going to, continue my career and make my money. And, I'm going to carve myself out a really nice career as a backup quarterback. And he was a backup for 4 years with Seattle and finally got his chance to start. And the last 3 seasons, he's performed admirably. He's won, winning record, I believe it's double-digit wins every single season. This last season was a little bit rough because, he changed offensive coordinator, changed head coaches, stuff like that. But I think right now we're poised to look at another breakout. This is just a real Raider scenario because you have a lot of guys that not only have the talent, right, and have the ability and have the track record, but they also have that huge chip on their shoulder. And that's one thing that I think we've been missing a lot here is the guys that we have, they haven't been as battle tested, right? So you look at Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, I believe, is going to be a Hall of Fame coach for what he's been able to do in multiple organizations in college and in the pros. On top of that, the fact that he got let go from his job after a winning season, and it's just, it wasn't something that that he saw coming. And the fact that he was able to kind of campaign for a position in the organization with Seattle as a consultant kind of speaks to the fact that and the respect that the Seahawks have for him. So you got 2 guys here who have a ton to prove still. 2 guys that have a lot to prove with a huge chip on their shoulder. And if this is not just the most Raider thing ever, it's shaping up to be something like another Rich Gannon situation again, where we got a guy who was kind of bouncing around, had some promise, but never really could make it fit. He got with a coach that believed in him and was able to put him in a position to succeed, and he was able to do that. So I'm really excited about what's to come here, and you can tell these guys they have that quiet confidence about them because they know what they can do and they know what's ready to happen. So I'm excited, man. Let's keep going here. I'm gonna stop pausing it so much, but let's keep going.
Geno, how do you feel about the way things ended with you in Seattle? How do you feel about that whole situation?
Yeah, it's just business, and that's the way things work in the NFL. There's no hard feelings for anyone there. I have a lot of love for everybody there, really, and I think it's just business. And there's new opportunity for everyone, and I'm so happy to be a part of this thing. I'm so happy to be here and where I am right now. Looking forward to just creating so many new memories, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be real fun.
Classy.
Pete used the word stability a couple times, what you're going to bring. What does that mean to you, the bringing stability to the team?
Yeah, when you think about stability, I think about 2 things. I think about consistency, and I think about integrity. And those are the 2 things that I hang my hat on. I want to be consistent. I want to be the same guy every single day. I want to be hardworking. I want to be the first guy in, last guy out. And I want to do that whether someone's watching me or not. And that's where the integrity comes in.
Geno,
Nice.
The team did have a pair of 1,000-yard receivers, tight end, and Brock Bowers. What do you think of the weapons you'll be coming into with Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers?
Oh, man, I was just talking to Jacoby. We're so excited about just getting the chance to work together. I followed him from New England to here, and I always thought he was a really good receiver, a really good player. Brock Bowers, he's an all-pro, one of the better tight ends in the NFL already, and I still think he's got so much room to grow and to improve. And a big part of my job is to help him do that, and he can help me improve as well. And so all the relationships with the guys from, Trey Tucker to Michael Meyer to just, all the guys, man, that I feel like, we can use
Michael Mayer,
and we can be successful with. But it takes an entire team, it takes an entire organization, and every single guy is important, and we want to make sure that they feel that.
Pete was praising the way that you prepared us. When you were number 2, you were always ready for that next play when you would step in. I guess, where did that come from? Obviously, it was a long road for you in this league. So how did you kind of focus in on that and know that was, a situation for you?
Yeah, I just believe in being a really good teammate. And I believe it's important to the team that if I was to step into the game, that we would have to go out there and win. And I always wanted to be the reason for that. And, you know, when I was with Russell, or when I was with Phil, when I was with Eli, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I always looked at myself as like a second coach. And I would be out there on the field, Pete be out there, and I'm, you know, coaching Russ like, hey, man, fourth quarter, you're Kobe Bryant, you know, hey, go out there and win the game for us. You know, I'm just talking to him and giving him the same thing that I would want in return. And so I think it comes down to the golden rule, treat others as you want to be treated, and that's kind of how I live my life. I want to make sure that I'm always ready, you know, like the cliche says, so you don't have to get ready.
You know, where did you
Anyway,
learn
you should have to get ready.
that golden rule from? Was it your family? Was it a coach?
Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but yeah, my family, just my upbringing, being raised in the church, and just being a people person. You know, wanting to be a part of community, wanting to uplift my community, and wanting to make things better.
You know, Heidi Fang, Las Vegas Review-Journal, just wondering what kind of tone you hope to come into set with the team kind of immediately as you start to take over the helm at quarterback?
Yeah, hard working. It's about us going out there and earning every single thing, and I want all of us to believe that we got to go and earn it. And I'm going to be the guy that's going to give every single thing that I got, you know, and that's every single day. I'm never going to let up. I'm going to do whatever it takes to go out there and win. It's important that my teammates see that, and they see that in me, and I want them to be inspired by that. So the work starts now. I'm looking forward to it, and it's really going to be exciting.
It kind of along those lines, what do you want to get out of the next couple months here in terms of continuing to build those relationships
Earl,
with guys
what's up,
like
baby?
Jacoby and Brock? What do you hope to accomplish, you know, by the time this regular season comes up?
Yeah, just get closer to my teammates. You know, really learn the name of everybody in the building, get to know every single person in this building, and get to know my teammates, get acclimated with the weather here, get acclimated with the city, you know, find myself here and really just start to build it, you know, the way that we will see it.
Geno, you went 7 years without much opportunities on the field, but then these last 3 years now have a team wanting to trade for you, wanting to compensate you as you deserve. How does that feel? And also, Maxx Crosby has spoken greatly about you. How excited are you to play next to him?
Yes, you know, again, the thing that we're here to celebrate is the chance to go out there and win. I've always felt that the belief in myself is always going to be greater than the belief that anyone else can have for me, and I've always had that. And so being a part of this here, very, very excited and very grateful for the opportunity, but the work is what matters the most, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Hell yeah.
Maxx is a guy who I've played against, who has been a perennial All-Pro. But the thing that I love about him is he plays the entire game, and he plays hard the entire game. And that's something that is rare in this league, and that's something that, you know, when you look at a guy who's a leader on defense, if he can do it, you know, everyone else can try and do that, and everyone else can strive to be like Maxx. And so I want to do the same thing. I want to be like Maxx. I want to, you know, play hard the entire game and leave it all out there on the field.
You know, what would you say are some differences and some similarities between your situation coming into Seattle versus your situation now coming into here? Throughout those, you know, experiences, how would you say your attitude has just changed going to this new opportunity?
Well, I'll say just perspective. I'm a little older now. You know, obviously I've gained more perspective, but my mindset has never changed. It's the same thing every day, man. Go out there and compete. Go out there and win. Do what it takes to be the best. And even when I was the backup, that's how I felt. And so I think that allowed me to stay in it. And now that I get the opportunity to start, nothing changes. You know, I'm still in my mind that same guy who had to fight, scratch and claw for the opportunity, and that'll never leave me.
You re-signed with Seattle knowing that you were going to be a backup. Did you ever resign yourself to the fact that that was going to be your life in the NFL? And if not, what was the end game for you? Did you have a vision that there was going to be more?
Yeah, you know, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I knew an opportunity would come if I just continued to work hard and continue to believe. And right before Coach called me and said, hey, we want to give you the opportunity to start, you got to go compete for it, I was already saying I'm going to take someone's job somewhere. And again, not in a cocky or arrogant way, but I just feel that I'm one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm out to go out there and prove it. I want to prove it to my teammates every day. I want to prove it to the organization every day. And then when the product goes out there on Sunday, I want to make sure that I'm one of the best.
You know, you told Albert Breer that you had a meeting with Tom Brady after you joined the team. What was that like, and what's it like having him be a part of this franchise?
You know, I got a chance to FaceTime with Tom once I was traded. You know, it's Tom Brady. It's a guy that, you know, I've idolized and looked up to, and I believe that he does things the right way. And I think that's something that I wanted to take from, you know, just watching his game from afar. Then you get to meet him, I got a chance to talk to him. I went to his home and got a chance to just spend about an hour and just talk ball with him and just talk life. And you understand why he is who he is immediately. He takes everything extremely serious. He's a diligent worker and he believes in hard work. And I think we align in that way. And I want to be a sponge. I want to soak up as much knowledge as I can from him. I want to learn as much as I can from him. The greatest quarterback to play the game. I mean, there's so many things that you can learn. And I think the main thing is that I'm here to win and I'm here to do the right things for my teammates just as he did.
We'll go Mark, Zeke, Adam, and then Harry.
Hey, John, where does he fit into your overall plans as far as building this franchise?
Well, we talked when we Pete and I got these jobs about every avenue we could explore to find a quarterback we would do, and to have one that's as accredited as him, I love. We were just talking upstairs his journey, the adversity he's been through. It's going to be a great resource to our players in this organization. I mean, he's kind of seen the worst. He's been through it. He's come out the other side, and we expect him to do all the things a quarterback does. Throw the ball really well, he can do, and then be a great leader for us too. So, you have a few guys on each roster that set the direction of your team, and I know Geno's up for that task. So that's why Pete and I are so thrilled to have him here.
Geno, you're entering season 12, I believe. You've been a starter, you've been back up. What has been the biggest lesson you've learned overall?
The biggest lesson I've learned is to stay consistent and to keep your head down in your work.
Yep.
I've figured out how to eliminate outside noise. I realized that in this business, this is the big leagues, and there's a lot of talk that goes on, but I understand that the work is what matters the most, and what you actually do is what matters the most. And so I know we're here doing a lot of talking today, but I'm really about just, like Marshawn said, I'm about that action.
Get about that action, boss.
You kind of talk about the collaborative process of building a roster and the way that you want to. Obviously, Geno, a big start of that, but maybe what you had to do in Seattle to build it to where it was, and now here in Vegas, kind of compare and contrast that.
You asking me that?
Just the collaborative process of building a roster.
I'm kind of leaning on Geno.
I think Geno was about to answer that one.
What we did was,
and then I had to. We started the whole thing out there looking for the right people to compete with, and to make sure that we, throughout all of the opportunities that we could face, that we would exhaust them to find the right guys. And we found some real success in the second half of the draft, in free agency, in every opportunity that we could. We tried to figure out how to make us better. And really, to do that, we had to find the right competitors, and was our focus then. Johnny and I are totally, arm in arm and figuring that out here. And every opportunity we've had so far, we feel like we've exhausted the best shot to get the toughest, most physical guys that love the game. It's so important too. That's more important than anything in their life, but their families. That's what we've been digging into. It's the same thing we want about it in that manner there. And so the proof is in us putting it together. But we're very clear on what it takes and what we want to get done, and that you can hear in Geno, and the sincerity and the commitment and the conviction that it takes to be a great competitor. That's what he is, and that's what we're looking for. And so I think this is a really significant day for us in that you can see how aligned we are, and the three of us are, in what it takes. And that's why this isn't new to me. It's just an extension in the opportunity to show it and prove it again here.
Geno, you played against the Raiders twice in Oakland. How cool is it now being able to have the Raider Nation in your favor instead of against you? And also, you were the first quarterback to play in Allegiant Stadium with fans in the stands back in 2021 in the preseason. That stadium, you got it domed compared to Seattle, unpredictable weather. How great is that for you?
I think, when I got a chance to play against the Raiders back in Oakland, was playing against Charles Woodson in his later in his career, Khalil Mack. They had Bruce Irvin, a guy that I know, and man, they all spoke so highly of the organization and just of the fan base and how they rallied behind the team. Being on the other side of it, man, it was tough. They always made it tough on me. You see the costumes and the spiked shoulder pads. I mean, just all the things that when you think about the Raiders, man, that's what you see. And to have that on our side now, I think is going to be special for us to go out there and compete and get the fans riled up and bring that energy and that juice to the stadium. It's going to be so important and so fun. And I was here with Coach Carroll actually when we played in the preseason, and it was pretty rowdy then, even though it was a preseason game. So I'm really looking forward to the fan base and just having them on our side and going out there and winning games.
That's all said. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, man. You know what? I know it was just a regular press conference and everything, but it just felt a little bit different. It felt like you could feel the quiet confidence that all three men on the stage had. You can feel that confidence just coming through the screen, and you could feel the confidence coming through in their words. It's not just talk. It's not just fluff. When you hear the words from Geno Smith talking about be the first one in, last one out, let the work speak for itself, be consistent every day and have integrity so you're doing it even when nobody's watching you. That's not just BS. That's not just him giving fluff. That's how he was able to hang around in the league and also be as good as he has been, even though he sat for 4 seasons. It's not a mistake. It's not a mistake that Pete Carroll, once he found the formula at SC, he's won everywhere he's gone with different iterations. Over the years, he just keeps on winning. This is something that I think everybody here understands that what we're looking at here is the continuation of the system that Pete Carroll has set aside. Yes, my opinion, you're absolutely right. He had 20 touchdowns and 15 interceptions last season, and he didn't have Pete Carroll, and he didn't have a running game. And quarterbacks tend to struggle when they don't have a guy that's necessarily in their corner and a new offense with the running game that doesn't work. It's a shame that it happened. But since you're so good with the numbers, what are the numbers the previous 2 seasons? Yeah. What about the previous 2 years? How'd he do? I bet if Derek Carr had 20 touchdowns and 15 picks, you'd be like, oh, he had 5 more touchdowns than he had picks. What a great year. Get out of here. Look, there's always going to be the wet blanket. There's always going to be the guy that is a stat monkey, just going to look at, says, oh, he's terrible. Look at these stats. Well, there's context that goes into a lot of this stuff. And I'm not even going to take any more time about this nonsense. What I want to talk about is this. There's a lot of things that are going to come into play here about how this team is going to turn around. I don't have an issue, right? I don't have an issue with the defense. I think this defense is going to be much improved for last season, just having the guys that missed time come back. I think that the guys that we got in free agency in the secondary and in the linebacker are going to be just as good, if not better, than the guys that we lost at a fraction of the price, mind you. Also, unfortunately, Jack Jones, we did have to part ways with Jack Jones, but he wasn't a right fit. He was too unpredictable. He was too up and down. And, it's just one of those things where he just didn't play the style that Pete Carroll wants to play. He wasn't very good in man-to-man coverage. He's a smaller than to be as physical as Pete Carroll wants his corners to be. The issue that we're looking at here is how can you get a Jack Jones to fit in your systems defensively, and you just can't do it. There's an old I said this in the video of Jack Jones, but what we're looking at here is like Bill Parcells had a great line. It was I want my corners to be this. I want to be this tall, the way this much, have arms this long, be able to jump this high. If you don't bring me that, the guy better walk on water. Well, unfortunately, Jack Jones is a very generous 5'11", 180, so he's shorter and thinner than the players that Pete Carroll usually has at those positions, and he doesn't really excel in man coverage. He had actually a pretty low man coverage grade over the last few seasons. So it's just not, it wasn't a good marriage. So we do have I think it's a pretty good need at the corner position. We need to get more corners. I think we're going to address that fairly early in the draft. I really don't have a lot of concern over the defense as far as how they're going to play. I think Patrick Graham has these guys I think when Patrick Graham had a full complement of players on his team and he was able to run his defense, the defense was humming the last part of 23. Last season, he never really had a lot of he never really had his full complement of players last season, and he wasn't able to run his defense the way he wanted to with a bunch of patchwork guys, unfortunately. I think I don't have an issue with that. And the big issue, I think, is going to be with the offense. And you see a guy that's able to go to a new place and win a national championship, and that is college, but it's still coaching. It's still being able to implement a system where you are getting the best out of your players, finding out what your players can do and molding something around what your players can do and putting the right people in the right positions. Jeremiah Smith is, I believe, Geno Smith's cousin, and he played for Chip Kelly last season at Ohio State. He was that all-everything freshman wide receiver. So there's still there may be some familiarity and some conversation between Jeremiah Smith and Geno Smith as far as what to expect in the Chip Kelly offense. I think Chip Kelly has is plenty experienced enough to be able to mold this system around what works best for the team. Space Beast, thank you very much for a super chat, man. I really appreciate it. We live, baby. You know it. We live. Look, a lot of good things to think about here. A lot of good things that we need to focus on. We're going to do some more stuff on the draft. I'm not going to talk about the draft right now, really, just because there's plenty of time to do videos on the draft. I really want to focus on Geno Smith and how he can really affect what the Raiders do moving forward. I think his arm talent is excellent. I think his arm talent is every bit as good as anyone we've had since in the last 25 years. His arm is really good arm. He's mobile. He's bigger than you guys think. Okay, he's tall. He's a good size. He's smart. He learned a lot behind Russell Wilson in Seattle. And when he was given the opportunity, he did really well. All right, guys, let's see here. I hope you guys, you know what? I think we're good for today, man. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with me today, guys. It's going to be a short one today. I started a little bit later than I wanted to because I got home a little bit later. And I wanted to give you guys time to know that we were going to be on. You guys can go ahead and watch this video over after we're done with this, if you missed the beginning part of it. What I want to make sure I'll impress upon you guys is whatever we decide to do moving forward, just know that the guys making the decisions have a track record of making good decisions. Like Pete Carroll said in the press conference, he has a track record of not only hitting on his early picks, but also hitting late as well. Now, we've had guys that hit late but miss early, and those miss earlies are really struggles. But I think for right now, I think we're going to do a really good job moving forward. It's going to be draft season. It's coming up. We're in the midst of draft season right now. We're about for 17 days away from this draft, baby. I believe I still don't know if I'm going to go live or not. And if I do go live, the first night, I really want to make sure that I just do up until the Raiders pick, and then I just get off because I do want to enjoy the draft myself. All right, guys, that's my time for today. I appreciate you guys. Before I go, make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's an excellent way to support the channel. It's absolutely free to do, and it's the bare minimum you can do to support the channel besides doing absolutely nothing, just watching the video, which, of course, I do appreciate. I wanted to get you guys a little update. We are up over 1,800, and we're less than 3 months old, and we're already almost at 2,000. That's great. It's all you guys. And over the last 28 days, we have almost 700 new subs, like 670 new subs. So that's great, guys. That's for you guys. What I want to make sure is you guys always understand that this is all for the nation. That's it. This is not about me. It's not about any specific one singular person. This is about Raider Nation, man. So I hope that you guys appreciate the stuff that I do for the nation and just get the word out, man. It'll be good for everybody to be able to get a good community here, to be able to talk and have a different opinion, and that's great. I don't have a problem with people that have different opinions, and I just want to make sure that you guys have a forum to be able to talk, and we have a forum to be able to discuss these things, and you guys can put up with my nonsense every now and then. All right, guys, appreciate you. Until next time, everybody, where's my button? There it is. Peace.